I have seen million-dollar companies getting compromised daily. On the other hand, I've seen smaller startups doing an excellent job at cybersecurity. Now, the difference is not what they've spent on cybersecurity, the difference is the culture they have built. So, today I'll tell you two stories that are my personal stories on how culture impacts business growth and decision. So hi, I'm Rohit. I've spent 20 years in the industry working for smaller startups as well as big corporate companies. Right now I'm employed at a Fortune 5. Now this video is the first in a series of videos I'm gonna do, which is how do you establish a cybersecurity program in a startup. So please follow along, and then I hope you'll have a good time. The security culture in context to a startup is not a poster on the wall. It is the set of rules that you have developed yourself that you will follow even if no one's watching. And I'll give you some examples towards the end of the video. So let's start with the first story. So this is when I took up a role as a cybersecurity manager in a company. I was the first security hire for the company, and I was tasked to implement cybersecurity across the board for this company. Now this was a consulting company in India, and when I was doing my first initial report of gap analysis, I told my manager that, hey, we definitely lack physical security, right? We don't have any cameras watching entry and exits. We don't have any access control points. We don't have any access controls on our doors. So I think we should fix this. Also, we don't no employees have badges. To which he responded that, hey Rohit, we are a very posh company. Like, we wear suits, badges don't look good over suits, and we trust our employees. We trust who comes in and goes out. And yeah, I mean, if you put in all these controls, these will not be very well received by the management and by their employees, because that's not the culture of the company. And we just said, okay. Now, 2 weeks out, he calls me to his office and says, hey Rohit, whatever your recommendations were, we really have to get them done. And I said, what changed? He said someone stepped in and took CEO's Blackberry. So eventually, it took a breach for them to realize that they need security. And they would not have had this breach had they followed the recommendations of having basic security in place. So that's an example of a bad culture, where when someone brought in a risk to you, you just swept it under the carpet and said, no, you know what, we don't want to do that. So this other story is about when I joined a company where I was again tasked to set up the cybersecurity programs from scratch. Now, I've done it 3 times, so in case you're wondering. So yeah, we were establishing cybersecurity from scratch, and we just got a new tool to do dynamic application security testing. When we ran it through one of our bigger customer application, we realized that the application is full of vulnerabilities. It included SQL injections, cross-site scripting, CSRF vulnerabilities, tons of them. So when we sent the report to the business, they were like, oh no, we there's a very critical release, we can't fix these security issues, we don't have enough time, there will be the customer's gonna suffer. And then eventually I escalated the issue to the CTO, saying, hey, we have this application which has a lot of vulnerabilities. To which CTO responded, okay, this release cannot go out, it has to be stopped. Also, we'll have to bring down production. So basically take the site offline, because we cannot have our customers run such a vulnerable website. So we'll bring down the site, fix the vulnerabilities, and then the site will go back up again. So when the business realized it's not going to go through, they had to fix all those issues and vulnerabilities, and eventually I think they took like a week or so for the next release to be free of all major critical vulnerabilities, and they submitted a plan on how the rest of those will be fixed. Now that's an example of a good culture, where when you saw there was an issue with the security of an critical application that you were selling to the customer, the management acted the way they should have acted. Eventually, this company went on to be acquired by a bigger company for 100 million valuation. And I think it was the culture that actually got the results, because I was just talking about security, but this was the culture across the board. Like, we will not leave things hanging. So by my stories, you might have realized that if you have a strong cybersecurity culture, you stay away from breaches, whereas if you tend to ignore them, then you pay the price. So what do I mean by security culture, or what does it even mean for you guys? There are some examples. First, lead from the top. So the cybersecurity culture should come from the management. For example, if turning on MFA is a requirement across the board, but CEO comes in and say, hey, I don't want to do it because I have to do this extra step. That doesn't work, right? You should practice what you preach. So what it means is it should be driven from the top, and if there's a rule, that should be followed across the board. Second, don't shoot the messenger, reward him. What that means is, if a junior developer comes to you and say, hey, I've seen this risk or I've seen this bug in the application that might be a security issue, acknowledge him. Put the risk in a risk register, discuss it, prioritize it. Just don't sweep it under the carpet because you are too busy releasing the next version and you don't want to deal with it. Because once someone knows that whatever they bring up will not be taken seriously, no one's going to bring it to you next time. The third thing you could do is make security the part of your DNA. That means if you're interviewing someone, ask some security questions. Make sure he understands the basics of security. Security should be a topic in your daily stand-up meeting. You should do threat analysis when you're designing a system. So basically, include security as a part of your DNA. Fourth is, whatever you're delivering to the customer, make sure it is as per your security standards. It's following all the standards, no critical major security bugs open. Just keep the customer in the center of your delivery and make sure whatever you're delivering to the customer is secure. So yeah, that's my take on culture. It's really important, fundamental, free, acts as a platform, and if done correctly, can lead to a very high value acquisition of your company. If you're still here and watching the video, please like, because I'm converting this to a series of how you can implement cybersecurity in a startup. So yeah, thanks for watching again.